yourself, damn, what is going on here?
This is bad. This is very, very bad.
Caitlin Clark is clearly a catalyst for a business that was, and let's be honest, Caitlin to some degree financially saved the WNBA. It was hemorrhaging money for years.
It's actually to drive revenue so we can give the players extra income opportunities. I had to actually educate the players. They're like, good, 75 million divided by 144.
The elbows, the blind sides, the endless cheap shots. This isn't just hard-nosed defense on Caitlin Clark. It's a coordinated assault. The WNBA's seasoned veterans are making it crystal clear they want the rookie who revived their league to pay her dues in pain. But the moment Clark's playoff run ended, the league's TV numbers collapsed, leaving executives scrambling in panic. And now, more and more signs suggest the WNBA is plotting something unthinkable, tilting the game itself to guarantee their billion-dollar star walks away with a championship, no matter what it takes.
WNBA rookie season complete. Let's see it. Most points by a point guard in a season in WNBA history. Most double-doubles by a rookie guard in WNBA history. Most points by a rookie in WNBA history. Most assists by a rookie in the history of the WNBA.
The financial boom Caitlin Clark brought to the WNBA wasn't just a spark. It was a tidal wave that reshaped the league overnight. To grasp just how massive her influence was, you need to see where things stood before she arrived. The Indiana Fever were practically invisible, buried at the bottom of the league with empty seats and oversized arenas and barely 4,000 fans showing up on average. But the moment Clark put on that Fever jersey, everything flipped. Attendance skyrocketed to nearly 17,000 per game, catapulting them from last in the league to the very top. Suddenly, every arena she stepped into was sold out weeks ahead of time. Tickets on resale markets jumped to hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars. Opponents were forced to relocate games to NBA-sized venues just to handle the wave of fans. That's the Caitlin Clark effect. Instant, overwhelming, and unlike anything the WNBA has ever seen.
They negotiated the WNBA's media deal alongside its own massive media rights agreement with Disney, NBC, and Amazon, and each of those companies will have their own WNBA packages. However, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver confirmed on Tuesday that the media deals were not finalized just yet.
Got to build, you have to scale, and ultimately expansion had always been on my list. But we didn't want to rush into it because we wanted new owners, like new ownership groups. Anyone who knows sports here knows, like, it's a slog to be a sports owner.
Caitlin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the
The real shockwave came on TV. Caitlin Clark's very first game shattered records, drawing the biggest WNBA audience in more than 2 decades and even rivaling major men's sports broadcasts. Over the course of the season, ESPN's ratings surged by an unbelievable 170% compared to the year before. That surge of eyeballs gave the WNBA bargaining power it had never imagined, paving the way for a massive multi-billion-dollar media rights deal. Meanwhile, her number 22 jersey was flying off the shelves, becoming the top-selling jersey across all sports right after she was drafted. For the first time ever, the WNBA wasn't simply being propped up by the NBA. It was running as a profitable, booming business. But while executives were celebrating their sudden windfall, a storm was already gathering on the court.
Clark trying to get around Mabry. Clark to the rim, reverses it home for the contact.
Struggled with physical defense she's faced at the professional level and voiced frustration with the league's officiating, recently telling reporters, quote, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me, and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with." That's what Caitlin Clark said.
What I am upset about, it's like, hey man, your meal ticket is under constant attack. There's been dirty plays.
From day one, Caitlin Clark was never given a warm welcome. Instead, she was met with an intensity that often pushed past competition and slid into outright hostility. This wasn't normal rookie hazing, and it wasn't just tough defense. It was calculated, personal, and dangerously excessive. The moment that revealed this ugly truth to the world came against the Chicago Sky. While standing still, waiting for an inbound pass, Clark was blindsided by guard Chennedy Carter, who threw a deliberate hip check that had nothing to do with basketball, sending her crashing to the hardwood. The hit was bad enough, but what really stood out was what didn't happen. Her teammates barely reacted, offering almost no backup. And when asked afterward, Carter made it clear she had no regrets.
Courage for Alyssa Thomas for making some of her great passes. No one picks up Clark, who cans the three.
Tremendous move, but we are tied right now. Clark to Samuelson.
And there is, believe it or not, folks, the biggest.
And this wasn't some one-off moment. All season long, Caitlin Clark absorbed the kind of punishment rarely seen in professional basketball. Hard fouls, off-ball shoves, and a level of physicality that felt targeted directly at her. Eventually, she couldn't hold back her frustration, telling reporters in a press conference, "I feel like I'm getting hammered out there," pointing out that opponents were being allowed to do things against her that referees would never tolerate with anyone else. She wasn't exaggerating. The evidence was obvious. A deliberate, relentless pattern of hostility. This wasn't just about testing a rookie. It was a calculated effort to intimidate, to wear her down, even to break the league's most marketable star. And make no mistake, that kind of aggression doesn't happen by accident. It was a message, one delivered straight from the top of the WNBA's established hierarchy.
But Cowan, who couldn't finish, behind the back again for Clark, give her another assist and a chance for a three-point play for Smith.
The animosity toward Caitlin Clark didn't appear out of nowhere. It was rooted in years of frustration simmering inside the league. WNBA veterans had spent their careers grinding in the shadows, fighting for relevance, scraping for paychecks, and demanding respect that rarely came. They were the ones who laid the foundation, brick by brick, through sweat and sacrifice. Then suddenly, a 22-year-old rookie walked in and was handed everything they had long chased: fame, endorsement deals, and wall-to-wall media coverage. The envy was impossible to ignore. Before Clark had even stepped on a professional court, Diana Taurasi, one of the league's all-time greats, went on national television with a chilling statement that sounded less like advice and more like a warning. Reality is coming. You're going against grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time. It wasn't just words. It was a promise of the physical punishment waiting for her. That resentment finally boiled over with the most shocking decision of the year: Caitlin Clark being left off Team USA's roster for the Paris Olympics. Despite being the most popular, most watched, and most talked about player in the nation, the selection committee, made up of WNBA veterans and insiders, chose to leave her behind. The official excuse was lack of experience, but hardly anyone bought it. To fans, it looked like a blatant power move, a calculated attempt by the old guard to remind the rookie of her place. The message was loud and clear. She hadn't earned her stripes, and she wasn't welcome in their circle. But instead of humbling Clark, the snub only exposed the deep divisions and simmering jealousy threatening to rip the league apart from within.
Wilson keeps the possession alive for Vegas. Wilson gets denied by Stewart.
Shot here in these finals. What about this one? Just a beautiful contest, all ball from the 7-1 wingspan.
While players were tangled in their own politics, league executives and team owners were staring at something far more frightening: the possibility that their sudden windfall could disappear just as fast as it arrived. That fear became reality the moment the Indiana Fever were knocked out of the playoffs. Almost overnight, the Caitlin Clark effect vanished. What was supposed to be the league's grand showcase, the intensity of playoff basketball, was played in arenas with glaringly empty seats. The electric sold-out crowds that had defined the regular season were gone, leaving a hollow reminder of just how dependent the league had become on one star.
Championships, 4 Big Ten championships. Yeah, there's my teammates. They're pretty awesome. And I think just a belief in myself, and my parents always instilled confidence in me from a young age when I was a young girl. And I think that's something a lot of young girls can learn to have. And I think people supporting them certainly helps. So, yeah, I think the biggest thing is the confidence. But I told my mom before this is like, you know, I earned it, and that's why I'm so proud of it.
The TV numbers painted an even darker picture. This wasn't just a decline, it was a total collapse. After 2.5 million fans tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark's final playoff game, the audience for the very next match nosedived to just 929,000. That's a jaw-dropping 60% drop virtually overnight. With Clark gone, so was the money, the hype, and the national spotlight. The shock hit the WNBA's front office in New York like a freight train. The truth was undeniable. The league's success wasn't fueled by a broad wave of growing interest. It was resting entirely on the shoulders of a 22-year-old rookie, and in that sobering moment, executives realized they couldn't allow her to be sidelined, silenced, or broken. The future of the league was riding on her.
That really stuck out to me was about Christy Size actually having major control over this Fever locker room.
Caitlin Clark, for the 2 games that she was in the postseason, Outkick has the story available right now. You can go to outkick.com. Caitlin Clark's final WNBA playoff game. 2.5 million viewers.
Appreciate you.
They're ready to arrive. I don't. I think she's going to be even better. And I think that what she has done for women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. There is no woman, no matter how great you were as a player, Cheryl Swoops.
Confronted with a financial reality they could no longer ignore, the league finally tipped its hand. For years, WNBA players had pleaded for charter flights, arguing that endless delays, cramped middle seats, and constant security risks from commercial travel left them exhausted and at a serious disadvantage. The league's answer was always the same: it's too expensive, it can't be done. But then Caitlin Clark entered the picture. Suddenly, those chaotic airport scenes, fans swarming her, media chasing her every step, turned what had been dismissed as a convenience into an immediate security emergency for the league's most valuable asset.
Not tell people, hey, if you're just in this for Caitlin Clark, then get out. No, that is not the way you market your league.
So
it's not the way you grow.
Almost soon after Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever.
And just like that, the money was suddenly there. The WNBA rolled out a shocking $75 million plan to provide charter flights for every team over the next 2 seasons. Publicly, it was celebrated as a long overdue win for all players. But behind the scenes, everyone knew the real reason. This wasn't about rewarding the veterans who had fought for it for more than a decade. This was about shielding Caitlin Clark. It was the clearest sign yet that the league was willing to rewrite its own rules and overhaul its finances to protect its new superstar. The line had been drawn, and if they were willing to spend tens of millions just to safeguard her travel, the question became, what else would they do to make sure she succeeded on the court?
Caitlin Clark, it was massive numbers. When it wasn't, it was even less on average than the previous playoffs.
This was the moment when quiet whispers of favoritism exploded into public debate. What started in online forums quickly spread to the biggest sports talk shows in America. Is the WNBA planning to rig the 2025 season to make sure Caitlin Clark reaches the finals? The theory gained serious traction when Stephen A. Smith put it front and center on his show, telling millions of viewers that the league simply can't afford to see Clark bounced early 2 years in a row. He even warned fans to watch for suspicious foul calls or oddly convenient playoff matchups. Skip Bayless echoed the same concern, bluntly stating that Clark is the league's golden ticket, and the WNBA would be insane not to do whatever it takes to keep her in the national spotlight as long as possible.
Now, one thing we've seen, and Holly Rowe talked to the players about this, last year they shot a lot of 4-pointers, as Sabrina knocks that one down for a 4-point.
Time about the offensive rebounding. We gave up 1 offensive rebound in the whole second half. That was huge for us. These
aren't just wild conspiracy theories. Allegations of favoritism have haunted professional sports for decades. The NBA has long been accused of giving superstar treatment to legends like Michael Jordan and LeBron James. The Tim Donaghy scandal proved beyond doubt that referees could and did manipulate games. The NFL has faced its own charges of tilting calls toward big market teams in pivotal matchups to drive ratings. Now, with the WNBA's entire financial future resting on the shoulders of a single player, the temptation to influence results and make sure Caitlin Clark reaches the finals may be simply too strong to ignore.
I was once that little Iowa girl who was inspired to dream big, real big. And that dream was more than women's basketball. If I can sign with Gatorade, you can too.
Everything to be proud of. I'm super proud. There's so much more we need to do. We're Caitlin Clark. This is just the beginning.
The WNBA now stands at a dangerous crossroads, staring down $1 billion gamble that could shape its future forever. One option is to step in, subtly steering outcomes with favorable whistles, strategic scheduling, and relentless promotion to push Caitlin Clark deep into the playoffs. That path all but guarantees record ratings, packed arenas, and a steady stream of revenue that could secure the league's financial stability for years. But the price would be steep, the loss of its competitive integrity. If fans even start to believe the games are manipulated, the WNBA's reputation could collapse overnight, betraying the very loyal supporters who carried it through decades of struggle.
If Caitlin Clark is the quote-unquote savior, if she's the golden girl...
League versus Caitlin Clark, and that is just absolutely false. It is unfair to the women that have been...
Staying with the WNBA playoffs, let's stay here. Let's just say the ratings aren't the same with Caitlin Clark.
The other option is to step back and let the season unfold naturally, but that path comes with serious risks. Another year where their marquee star gets targeted, beaten down, and possibly knocked out early by bitter veterans. It could trigger another devastating 60% drop in viewership, sending the league's newfound momentum crashing to the ground. This is the trade-off: manufactured success or the gamble of genuine competition. Will the WNBA sell its integrity to protect Caitlin Clark, or will they stand by and risk watching their lone superstar get pushed out before she even has the chance to rescue the league? All eyes are on them now.